Hey there, how's it going everybody? Welcome back, Plant Abundance here. Today is November 7th, 2017, and we are smack dab in the fall season. Wanted to share with you some updates and what's growing on here in this backyard food forest. This is year 6 of this design, and as you can see, even in the latter part of this year, we've got plenty of growth still occurring. I've got a lot that I want to share with you, both good and bad, some different lessons I've learned and such. I'm going to start right over here at the beginning of the design. I just put this box together, real simple design. So I've got this box covered right now with some corrugated sheet metal just to keep any debris from entering into the sand. But I'm going to use this as a propagation area for some cuttings that I'll be taking. I'm going to build a hoop house over this. So this is an idea that I got over from Mike's Backyard Nursery. So check out his channel if you want to learn more about propagating cuttings and such. He seems to be the man with the plan. Now as I move around the design, you're going to notice things are a bit messy out here. It gets like this occasionally, but usually I keep it pretty clean. We've still got cardboard and such from the inoculation I did with the mushroom spawn about a week and a half ago. Over here around this tree, I've got several sacks, mycelium sacks that I had put together and inoculated. Also, over in that corner, there's a shady area of the yard I inoculated. One of the things I wanted to do today was to look at one of those sacks and see where we're at a week and a half in, if the mycelium has started to spread throughout that substrate or not. So we'll take a closer look, but check out the greens over here. Now I've got several different varieties of tree collared hybrids. Here we've got the abundant tree kale looking wonderful. Behind that I have a new variety that's yet to be named. Absolutely amazing variety. Delicious leaves, humongous leaves, grows year round, especially in temperate climates like here where I'm at, Northern California, Zone 9B, Bay Area. Here's a merit collared plant, and we've still got sweet potato greens we're harvesting from. Soon we'll dig up and see if we got some tubers under there. We've got cayenne peppers still pushing out growth. We've even got tomatoes still coming online, so exciting stuff. Here's a patch of yacon. I've got several patches of yacon throughout the design. This is a wonderful perennial plant. It regrows from the rhizomes that can be separated and proliferated each and every year. And once we get a frost, these are going to die back, turn brown like this, and at that point we can harvest the tubers, which are absolutely delicious. They're also known as a ground apple. I think that's an accurate description. Watery, almost like a sweet carrot. So if you've never had yacon, look into that plant. It's absolutely amazing. Here's an area over here where I had dropped one of those sacks and covered it with wood chips and straw. And you can see right next to that, the chickens have been digging. They kind of stopped once they butted up to that sack. And that was one of my intentions, was to keep moisture in there while we're still very dry. We had one very small rain over the last, well, several months, and it didn't do much. So one thing I wanted to mention is that I've done virtually no watering back here other than spot watering a few of my different plants, some of the younger citrus, avocado tree, and some of these mycelium patches and my garlic patches. But the majority of what you see growing back here hasn't seen water for over a month, and everything is doing very well. So exciting stuff. Anyway, I want to look closer at this sack like I had mentioned and see if we've got any mycelium yet growing out from here. Well, okay, I'm starting to see something now. So yeah, that mycelium is definitely starting to run through that substrate. We'll cover this back up for now and check back later. The hugelkultur mounds still looking great in this latter part of the season. The banana tree is taken well and is starting to really grow up fast. These other patches where I dropped mycelium sacks have remained untouched by the chickens, so I'm very excited about that. I definitely want to keep them away while we're getting things established. So right here was that compost in place garden. I made a video showing you how I basically covered up all the plants that grew throughout the summer and started to emphasize some of the plants that were being shaded out that I want to grow through the fall and winter, like this ashitaba here. Here's a young citrus tree. We've got some taro root, and this is probably ready to be harvested. I don't think it's going to do much more for this season, so we'll see what we ended up with. The borage or barrage has come back beautifully in many different areas, and we're still getting these bees fed. It's always a good feeling. Artichokes. These artichokes just keep putting off pups, and I keep planting more artichokes around the garden. Finally, next year I'm hoping I'll have enough artichokes to harvest the globes rather than leave them on there for the beauty that the flower creates. It's really hard for me to harvest even though they're delicious because I love the flowers so much. Here's some more yacon on the edge of the hugelkultur over here. You can still see we've got some pumpkins growing around there. So didn't harvest those in time for Halloween. The aronia berry, still a few berries left on here. Oops. And as they get dry like that, they become really sweet and delicious to eat out of hand. Now you see the hose drug throughout the garden. That doesn't mean I've been watering. Everything is very dry, especially over in this area of the yard. Seen virtually no water, like I said, in a long time. I'm about getting ready to harvest this horseradish plant there. I've also got some roselle or cranberry hibiscus. Did a little bit of growing this year, but again, very neglected, so I'm actually really happy with the results that we obtained. I hope I'm able to get that plant to overwinter, and we'll see if it comes back next year. Share those results with you. Here's some more ashitaba, and we've got some milkweed or butterfly weed there. My macadamia nut tree, still struggling to really get going. You know, I'm just the type of gardener, I got to tell you guys, I don't really baby my plants. In a lot of instances, I let the plant struggle a bit. It's my feeling that if the plant gets babied up front, it's going to develop weaker and shallower root systems, where if you let it struggle a little bit, it really has to dive deep with the roots and such to pull up water and nutrients. So that's kind of the philosophy. We'll see how it goes, but so far it's been doing well in my other plants. You can see the chayote squash has vined throughout this apple tree, this pear tree. It's coming all the way from this grouping over here and still eating tips like crazy. Over here, I guess you could call this a fail. That's one of my moringa trees. I've actually got several. Here's another one over here. And it grew to be about a foot tall. So in a previous video I had stated you can get them in later in the season, June, July, and end up with a 7-foot moringa. I've seen that occur back here in the past, where it went from a foot to 7 feet. This year, not the case. So a lot of my moringas ended up passing away, as I did quite a bit of neglect this year. And I just want to let you guys know that's okay. That you don't have to always be so involved in your garden that you don't have time for other things. Balance is really important. And this year, I really let the design kind of do its own thing. I took a step back, and I've been very happy with all the abundance that we've gotten so far. Here's another area that I just don't know how we're going to end up here. This avocado tree, it's pushing out new growth there on the tips, and it's had moments of looking very well, and then it has times where it looks like this. So we'll just have to see. I definitely haven't been giving it enough water or attention as a young avocado tree deserves, but I did protect it from the summer sun this year. Here we've got the original abundant tree kale, several years old now, starting to push out new growth. All the fruit trees are really filling out nicely. You know, it takes a bit of patience, it really does, with the pruning and just getting everything prepared for its future fruit sets. And sometimes, rather than getting lots of fruit early on, you're focusing on the pruning. It can make a big difference. cherry tree as well, budding out all over the place. Hoping to get cherries next year. Still need to prune back the table grapes back here. Another avocado. It's an old stinging nettle patch. I never got around to actually chopping it down, so it dropped quite a bit of seed. So we'll see how invasive it gets next year. It's always my opinion I can easily manage that by just doing a sheet mulch around whatever area I want to negate a plant. We've even got plants like the zucchini laying there. You can see where it's been pecked at. That's by the chickens have been pecking at that. Some of the trees are looking healthier than others, but things are looking like they're going to do absolutely just wonderful next year. I just cannot wait. Next year is going to be a big year for this garden design. Check out the fig trees here. Drop most of the leaves. You can really see the structure now. I need to get this netting off. Keep saying I need to do this, do that. I really need to dedicate a couple days to coming out here and just getting everything cleaned up. Here's what I would say is another fail. My chaya plants I allowed to get strangled out by some of the morning glory that volunteered itself, and just overall neglected these plants. So things are kind of a mess in this area, but not a big deal. You can see the beautiful turning of the leaves, nice and yellow. Beautiful pomegranates, some big, some small, some medium, looking like ornaments hanging on these trees. These are all ready to be harvested, and we have been harvesting here and there. Still getting a few tomatoes. These plants will be saying bye-bye real soon. I already saved a bunch of these seeds. I'm going to probably grow the same variety next year. Need to cut back the hop vines along the fence here, clean this area up. Here's another fail. A lot of fails on this video, and I'm not ashamed to share it with you. But here are a bunch of the cuttings from the fig tree, and I had shared with you how you can just jam that right into a mound of dirt and have success propagating. Well, the majority of these cuttings are dead now, and it's not because the information was bad, but it was the neglect once again. This area completely dried out. I neglected it, and as a result, the sticks in the ground became habitat for mycelium, and that's about it. I mean, we have a couple that took. You can see some green growth on this one here. And some of the cuttings that made it into the hugelkultur have grown out. I'll show you that real quick. You can see new growth on this fig limb. Just got thrown into the hugelkultur. Now's a great time to take cuttings off plants like the longevity spinach here. I want to continue to proliferate this plant out. Absolutely one of my favorite plants to grow in the garden, this longevity spinach. Been keeping my garlic patches nice and moist. Before the next rains come in, I need to harvest the rest of these echinacea heads. When they turn black like this, it's prime for the picking to collect seeds. I've already done a bit of that. We've still got plenty of berries on those remaining ashwagandha plants that I didn't harvest. We're going to see if they overwinter and grow back next year, but I am going to cut this down to a couple inches above the ground and take off all the berries and harvest the seeds from those. Here we've got ceanothus, comfrey. Here's another sea buckthorn plant, and this plant has, I have no idea if it's going to survive. The chickens, for whatever reason, just kept digging into this plant. How many times did I recover it with mulch, with fresh soil? They just kept digging into it. Occasionally they'll do this with a plant, and I don't know why that is. There may be something, you know, in the area, some ants or something that they're going after, but that's not looking very good at the moment. Thankfully I've got, I think, 3 or 4 more of those in the landscape. The kumquat tree is filling out nicely with some delicious fruits. Edible citrus, eat the peel as well. So they turn bright orange and then they're ready to go. And you want to get them picked before you get down to any freezing temperature. they go bad quick after that. So still a lot of production back here. Like I said, I've neglected things quite a bit and not feeling bad about that. I'm actually excited at how well things have done, such as this lemongrass. My wife has been using this a lot. She drinks lemongrass tea almost every night. I made some soup using some of the Jerusalem artichokes in the lemongrass. It was really, really good. I hope to share that with you guys soon. Hiding behind that, we've got a pineapple guava, or a fajoa, and very slow grower, evergreen, cold tolerant, edible fruit tree. So that's the update for today. Again, November 7th, and we're in Northern California, Zone 9B, the Bay Area. A lot still growing on, all on its own. Really happy with the results we're getting. Thank you guys for sticking around. It's been a while since I made a video. I've got plenty of content, so that's not the reason. There's just a lot going on. So thank you once again. Hope you're all having a great day. I'll be talking to you again soon. Take care.